Welcome to today's episode, the podcast where we discuss the most recent installments of a different series every show. It is Friday, January 23rd. The Beauty is out. It's a new FX show by Ryan Murphy, of course. It's the seventh show that we're reviewing this year, and it started as a comic, right? In 2015, Jeremy Hahn and Jason A. Hurley, I don't know if they've done anything else, but I know that the people that put it out, Image Comics, have done a ton of stuff that you've read before. The Walking Dead, Kick-Ass. I don't know if you've read Invincible. Have you read Invincible?
I think I read like the first 2 issues of Invincible.
Okay, and they even did A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, whatever that was based off of the short stories by George R. R. Martin. Like, he started with The Hedge Knight, giving a few of those like volumes out, and they did the first couple issues before it switched over to a different comic book. So it's all connected. But you know very well that like comic book adaptations into TV shows normally diverge pretty drastically
All the time.
by the end.
All
But
the
like
time.
even starting out, there's usually some notable changes. So out of all the comics that I just listed, the ones that you've read, can you give me some like crazy situations where there have been like differences between the TV show and you've just been like, that's nuts?
Yeah, like with The Walking Dead, by the end, Carl is the main character.
Yeah, everybody knows that though. Give me something like
Andrea also, she ends up dying way earlier in the TV series than in the book.
What-
Carol ends up making it out of the TV series, but she does not make it out of the comic book either. And
yeah,
it's
there's a lot
also-
of people who die early.
It's
but
also very much darker in the first couple volumes of the Walking Dead comics with like very, very like gruesome detail. Like for example, you have a sex cult between some teenagers that starts to happen inside the prison.
that sounds like a Ryan Murphy part. Like
Doesn't
he
it?
would have jumped on that.
But of course they didn't do anything like that for the TV series. They made it lighter when they were at the prison. They kind of,
AMC was like, no dice.
well, there was no way they were going to be able to adapt something like
I know Rick also lost his arm a lot earlier in the comic book, right?
I think it was like within the first
was the
like
first
maybe
zombie he
6
met. No.
volumes. No, it wasn't actually. The first issue and first episode are pretty similar, but I mean,
Mhm.
just there were a lot of changes, particularly at the beginning because it was darker in The Walking Dead than in the TV series.
So having read some of the Beauty in preparation of this show coming out, were you expecting them, knowing that it was a Ryan Murphy show, knowing how creepy the last season of Monster got when you
Yeah.
watched that first episode?
Except he didn't do season 3, right?
He was part of it, like it was his protege
His production
or whatever.
company was at the start of it.
Yeah. And so like, did you think at all this is going to be a 1-for-1 translation, or did you know going in this is going to be so different?
I knew he was going to make it different. The thing about Ryan Murphy is a drop of him. The smallest drop can go the longest way. And I don't hate everything that he's done. Like, for example, if you remember...
Are you calling him the virus in the show?
No, I was just saying that, like, there's a lot of TV series that, like, if you look at anything, like American Horror Story, American Horror Stories, he decides that he's always wanting to go kind of the Mark Millar route, where it's like he wants to just go maybe as edgy as possible. And I feel like this series is no different.
Well, it's his team again. It's Ryan Murphy, it's Matt Hodgson, it's a bunch of the directors he's used. Obviously, Evan Peters. You want to take a wild guess at how many projects he's been with him?
Well, I know he did Dahmer. He was also an American Horror Story, and I'm assuming there was another one, so I'll go with
We're
3.
talking double digits. It's
Oh,
10.
wow.
And usually he plays a creepo. He plays the Charlie Hunnam character from Monster. He plays the dude. And so this time they made a big point in all the ads and stuff. He was going to be the Steve McQueen hero.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
And so like he is supposed to be even different than his character in the comic, right?
Well, yeah, very much so. His name is different too. It's Cooper, and in the comic, it's Drew Forster. But also, this isn't like Evan Peters isn't the only one that he's worked with. Like John Carroll Lynch, I remember he was in the drive-in episode of American Horror Stories, and he plays the boss of Cooper here.
You know who else he's worked with before, but isn't in the show, is Demi Moore.
Really?
Yes, he worked with Demi Moore a few years ago. I think it was in Feud. It was like one of those series, like, you know how they had a couple different versions of that?
He always seems right at home, though, when he's doing horror.
Right.
Like, that seems to be, like, kind of his bread and butter. Like, I mean, I can think of maybe, like, Dr. Odyssey and some other things, but really it's horror that I think he's, like, most known for.
Yes. The reason I bring up Demi Moore, obviously, is because of Substance, the biggest connection with this show. I've got a few of them, but like, tell me if this is the right premise.
Right.
Mysterious treatment that makes people physically perfect until it literally kills them. It sounds like other things like that we've done recently. Like Lazarus. has a
Lazarus,
pain relieving drug called Hapna, which makes everybody happy. It might not make them beautiful, but it certainly like fixes
Right.
everybody's life until it turns out to be fatal.
There's a ticking clock in the background.
Just like
Yes.
this, right?
Right.
It's like if beauty makes you happy, then it's the same thing. Opposite of common side effects, where they have a miracle drug which can possibly even bring you back to life.
The blue mushroom.
And then, of course, there's a Limitless from
where it
many
like
years
unlocks
ago, where
your
if you
brain.
remember in the original Bradley Cooper version, at least, like the drug came with side effects.
Yes.
And like after a while, your brain would hemorrhage and you would die.
And he wasn't even able to remember, like, if he had killed someone. I remember that was a subplot in the film. I had a cross between The Substance, The Outside, which was the lotion episode from Cabinet of Curiosities, A Different Man, the Sebastian Stan movie.
Yes.
And then
particularly, I was curious if the way that they change, because I hear it's different from the comic to the TV series.
It's way more grotesque in the TV series.
Well, it's faster, right?
Yes.
It's not as gradual. And I was wondering if it was like A Different Man, where he just kind of rips off his own skin.
Yeah, somewhat. In the TV series, they come out of a cocoon-like structure.
Oh, so yeah, it's like Cocoon.
But the funny thing about the comic book was that there was no cocoon. It was just like you woke up and you looked in the mirror and you saw that you were more attractive. I could also throw in Spontaneous, that high school horror film where people blow up, because that is very, very similar to what happens to the people in the TV
once
series.
they've reached their limit. I think it's 2 years, right? And so like once they get 2 years of being beautiful, getting to do whatever they want with whatever comes with that beauty. If you want to become a model or if you want to just like sleep with beautiful other people. When they do that though, so it starts off as a drug, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's what's different than the comic?
Yeah, well, it's strange because Byron Forst, what we learn, at least in the third episode, is that that's Ashton Kutcher's character. He's on a yacht for 2 episodes. He's very rich, and he was trying to come up with a drug that was just supposed to make you instantly more beautiful.
And is he doing that for a purpose other than to just make money?
He just wants money.
So he's Lex Luthor.
He says the pharmaceutical companies are like $500 billion, and he's wanting to make it like 1 trillion, 500 trillion. Like his head is in the clouds in terms of like how much money he wants to get.
So he's paying off the FDA to like get his treatment through. My question is, how does it go from being something that you inject into your body as a regular drug to then being passed on to other people through STDs?
One of the people that he was working for ended up taking the drug, and it wasn't 100% like foolproof yet. And so he stole the drug. He took it, and then it became a disease where the virus kept on being passed.
So it's like The Boys when they have different vials, and some of them work 100% and like cure you. It's like the blue ones, and then the green ones, which like Butcher took, gave him a bunch of like cancer and
You're
stuff.
talking about Compound V, but yes, very much. Yeah, that's what it's like. But there are some people that have taken the drug that it haven't blown up. Like for example, Anthony Ramos, his job, he's an assassin. In fact, I think that's his name, at least on Wikipedia, because I don't think we learned.
I think he was the mercenary in the comic, and then he's the assassin in this.
Right. He took the drug when it seemed like it was actually all good. So he, even though I think is 65 in the TV series, he still looks 30. But his job is to hunt down the people that have gotten the disease to basically kill them.
He took a purer form. So like he's kind of loopering it, and even though he's not killing himself, he is being sent out to kind of kill off whatever might come out. And I guess he works for Byron, is what you're saying?
Byron tells him
he just doesn't want that story coming out. So he's assassinating all. I can see that. I just keep on comparing it with all these other different types of shows. The first 3 episodes, which you saw, Beautiful Pilot, Beautiful Jordan, and Beautiful Christopher Cross, Christopher Cross being the singer. So really the only one that is a person is Beautiful Jordan, someone we haven't talked about yet. So it starts off, and is there like a case to begin it, or how does that work?
You mean for the first episode for Beautiful
Pilot? Like I feel like we're talking and glossing over terms.
We start off in Paris. And Bella Hadid, at least that's who I think it was, actually is the first person we see in the show. She's being a model. She's on like the fashion
She's on
blog.
Broadway.
She's doing literally a catwalk as we see her. But we start to get kind of the best medicine look at her, where it's like a lot of close-ups. We can tell that something is very strange. We don't exactly know what's going on with her, but she's not right. And then she suddenly jumps off of the stage and then rips a water bottle from some guy's hand and starts trying to drink it. And then she decides it gets even crazier because she runs outside. And this beginning scene was almost like a cross between James Bond and Banshee, because at least the Banshee beginning scene was very similar. She throws a guy off the motorbike, gets on it, and then starts riding up some stairs outside, like having to dodge people.
Where's she going?
We don't exactly know, but then she gets hit by a car. She crashes, she flies off the motorbike, and she runs into this restaurant. And then we see she just wants water because she's, again, ripping it from people's hands. She's even going behind the bar and she's just like throwing it all over herself. Perhaps the grossest part of the whole entire scene is when she runs into the bathroom and she starts using the toilet water to try and cool herself down.
Yeah.
And then after all of this, after the cops are called and everything, she runs outside. There are a ton of cops that are like cornering her off, and then suddenly out of nowhere she just blows up. And you see
Now,
everything.
when you say blows up, it does bring to mind that Doctor Who episode, the one with the marshmallow-looking fat globules
right, the small
things,
little children, yeah.
where they all pop out of people, and that's kind of like their fat weight loss drug.
It horrified me as a kid. But
this is a lot more gross though, right?
Yeah.
It's more bloody.
But it's a good comparison because it is very much the same. However, yeah, blood hits all the cop shields and it's just a giant circle of blood. There's no human body there anymore.
And so the people who are called in for the investigation, is that going to be Evan Peters' character?
Right. That's Cooper and Jordan. And again, Cooper's name in the comic book is Drew Foster. Jordan's name in the comic book is Cara Vaughn. Actually, the first thing that we see from them, the first time we actually see them, is when they are having sex in a hotel.
I was going to ask, are they together?
They aren't together, but they do have sex sometimes. I know that
they're friends with benefits.
Yeah, both of them have a healthy sex life. That was a huge difference from the comic book where that wasn't even a thing between the two of them.
Yeah, Cooper Madsen, again, a little bit of a playboy, a little bit more like the Steve McQueen action hero, as Ryan Murphy put it. And then Jordan Bennett, they're working together as an FBI duo. You said in Paris? Why are the FBI in Paris? They're assuming that they will have run across a lot of these same cases.
Well, there's been 3 cases so far,
okay.
and they're in Europe, and they're trying to investigate the backgrounds between all of them, see if there's any type of connection between all.
Yeah, because it says the next episode they're in Italy, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, in terms of lack of focus, by episode 3, Cooper and Jordan are barely even in that episode. They're in it for Cooper's only in for one scene.
Right. So what are they doing for the rest of the episode then?
Well, half of the episode focuses on Jeremy. Jeremy is an incel. He's in New Jersey. He's also just getting very
mad. Incel from New Jersey.
Well, even the first scene we see, he's jerking off. There's a lot of sex. If you're not seeing sex in the TV show, you're at least hearing them talk about it. Every single character.
Uh-huh.
I know that Blake Snyder says in his 15 beat sheet when you're writing a script that you have.
He doesn't mean beat like that.
But
it doesn't mean it has to be 15 beats every single.
What I was going to say was that the theme has to be stated. That's one of his beat sheet moments. But the theme is stated just consistently through the dialogue because it's all about sex.
Of course.
But Jeremy, being an incel, he's so mad. We even see him get mad at his mom. And then a doctor comes to him and is like, you know what? I can give you plastic surgery and you will look so much better. So then Jeremy goes through, he gets his plastic surgery. He thinks he looks better, but anyone who's watching the episode realizes that he doesn't. And then once he realizes that some girls that seemed into him at a bar were actually just using him for his money, he gets really mad and he comes back to the place and shoots a receptionist in the head. Now, you might think that that's going to be a big part of the episode. It's pretty irrelevant to the actual plot because it doesn't seem like
he doesn't go to jail or anything?
No, he goes back into the back room where the doctor is, and then the doctor is actually, there's one more thing we can try, and if you don't kill me, I can do it. And then he has sex with someone at the very end of the episode, and we see finally kind of him transform.
So that really hack plastic surgeon
Right.
dude didn't actually have the vial of the stuff that the billionaire was working on. He just knew someone who could transmit it.
He tried working on Jeremy's face first, and then at the very end, when Jeremy had the gun at him, he was like, no, wait, hold on, go to this hotel. And then, he ended up paying the person. And then Jeremy, we see at the very end of the episode, comes out of his cocoon-like state.
Yeah.
It is so gross, but actually it worked pretty well for the episode because I was just kind of shivering the whole time and cringing because you see all the slime around him and you see him have to break out of almost this seal. It was
Yep.
horrifying.
Yeah, that's like the Matrix. It's funny though, because the person that they recast him as
Yeah.
was 6 years older than him.
He's 6 years older?
Yeah, because Jeremy or Jaquel Spivey is like 27 in real life, and Jeremy Pope, who plays the the other version of Jeremy, is 33.
I did see Jeremy's name, and I found it funny
Yeah, Jeremy's Jeremy.
that they decided to keep the same thing.
Right, and so in the second episode, is that when you meet the assassin?
Well, yes, but it's also with the runtime. The first episode was 55 minutes, the second episode was 25 minutes, and then the third episode was 43.
That's so weird.
So yeah, so when I saw the second episode was 25 minutes, I thought, okay, the episode was just extra long, but then I saw 43.
It was another Hedge Knight scenario where it's like mostly they're going to be 30 minutes, but the pilot was longer.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So, anyways, episode 2. That's when I think we get mostly the backstory on Jordan and Cooper, because now they're in Venice. There's another body that has blown up, but we don't actually see it happen. We just see the kind of charred carcass, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. But they saw that she posted, because she was an influencer, a warning video saying don't do it right before someone attacked her. So they were trying to figure out what exactly the connection with that could have been.
And they have no idea that they took this drug or that they had it in their system.
I don't think so.
Or that they were sleeping with people that had it.
I don't think so. No,
okay.
I think that that's still kind of kept under wraps.
Well, they know by the end of the episode, right?
I don't think
because Jordan kind of figures it out.
Well, yeah.
Assume.
So this was they decided to have this very long scene between the two of them where like you could tell they were really mad at one another, but because they're not actually dating, they just ended up kind of having a fight about sex, because I think Cooper kind of wanted to take it more seriously than Jordan.
He wanted to bring it to another level and actually start a relationship.
So Cooper, he ends up leaving. He's kind of mad. She has sex with another guy, but there's a very big extended scene with Cooper, a fight scene between two people who try to kill him as he's walking the streets of Venice.
But one of them is not Anthony Ramos?
No.
It's not the assassin? That's interesting. So like Byron has plenty of dudes who are on the case trying to stop people from solving the case. Yeah. So did he plant the person who Jordan ends up sleeping with?
I think it's
that'd be really
manipulative.
manipulative.
I don't think so.
Okay, so she just randomly runs into someone who also has been infected, who then infects her, and then by the end of the episode, you have a full recast of the secondary main character.
Yeah, that was so we get the cuckoo scene from her. But the strange thing about did they cast someone different for her?
Oh, absolutely. She's about, I think, 20 years younger or something?
I can maybe see it if I saw more of the episode, because she didn't look too different from me, but there's so much slime like over her.
So you don't see her at all in the third episode?
No, you don't see. You only see her at the very end of the second episode arise from the cocoon and then just kind of like scream when she realizes
it was kind of a shock, because like the way that the whole thing had been pitched was that there was going to be this duo and Rebecca Hall was going to star in it. But no, then in the second episode, you kill off one of your main characters, a la like what they wanted to do with Jack and Lost in the first episode.
Well, in the comic, it starts off and she already has the virus. So
the partner already has
the partner already has the virus, and then Drew ends up getting it in the comic by the end of the first issue.
But not by having sex with her?
No. He has sex with his wife, who ended up having the virus as well.
Wait, so his wife ended up having sex with someone else?
Well, that's what we're led to believe.
That's pretty fucked up. Poor Drew.
But that doesn't happen to Cooper. Yeah, in fact, Cooper even in the third episode is tested to see if he's having this virus that people have, and he ends up being clean. But
because he's like, oh, I'm so hot, I'm going to have myself tested just to be sure that I'm not hot because of this.
They don't exactly know.
They don't realize what the
Jordan is off the map at this point.
Yeah.
She's not even there. But the third episode had my favorite scene, because we hear about it in the second episode how there was a Vogue reporter that ended up blowing up also. But we start off the third episode. Ben Platt is there, and he's having lunch with Meghan Trainor.
Yes, they're both there,
and so they're talking, and they just seem like very uppity, rich.
You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of in Men in Black, when they do that funny thing where they're like pointing out all the aliens that are actually like celebrities,
right?
Vice versa, celebrities that are actually aliens. That's basically what he's doing here.
And they're having lunch in one of those like all white rooms that you're talking about. So then someone comes up. I think that she's working with them, and she's trying to drink because she's having this moment. And I was thinking to myself, okay, we're just going to see her blow up. This isn't going to be that great. But I love her freak out moment, because she ends up picking up a chair and hits Ben Platt with it and topples over. She grabs Meghan Trainor, throws her out a window.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're enjoying this series.
I was enjoying the action scenes, like, I liked Cooper's scene, and I like how crazy the first, scene of the first episode got and the beginning of the third episode got because of how how just obscene it was, and then she ends up blowing up, and it seems like this is way worse because all the blood is, like, hitting people, so they might be infected as well. They don't exactly
So,
know.
yeah, no, this can be, and so we would need like Steve Harrington to come in and teach a sex ed class because that's what he does now, and he would tell you about the different ways that you can communicate a disease.
That was the strangest way you could,
The strangest,
put in Stranger
the
Things.
strangest way for strangest things. Yeah.
But most of the episode is dealing with the assassin. That's really when we get to know Anthony Ramos. He is told about this doctor by Byron, and he goes to the doctor, and he's trying to figure out exactly where Jeremy is. Once the doctor gets the location from Jeremy, because he calls him while Jeremy is having sex, the assassin shoots the plastic surgeon. He ends up dying, and then he goes to Jeremy, and the woman that he was having sex with, her name was Claire. She ended up leaving, but the assassin needs to figure out where exactly Claire is. And that's when we finally get, what was the name of the
So
third
he
episode?
keeps Jeremy alive to find out where she
Right,
is.
right,
Okay.
exactly, and he is even driving with him. The reason why it's called Beautiful Christopher Cross is this was a very much
I mean, you
like
got the singer Christopher
that
Cross.
that Keanu scene because what the assassin is talking about is, yes, the singer Christopher Cross. He was saying how Christopher Cross got like very, very famous in the beginning of the 1980s,
Right.
and
So it's kind
then
of trying to communicate that this guy's a lot older than he
yes,
looks.
right, and
Yeah.
that's when we learn at the end of the episode that he's 65. But he
So
was
he's like Memory of a Killer, our next show that we're talking about, where he's an old assassin, but like the gift of being able to do it as younger again.
it's somewhat like Sakamoto days as well.
Is he
Like,
that good?
well, yeah. But when he's talking about Christopher Cross, he's talking about how the guy got very, very famous very quick, and then when people started seeing him, like at award shows, they realized kind of how ugly he looked, and
Wow.
he ended up
Ryan Murphy throwing flames.
he ended up falling off the map. And I don't know anything about Christopher
That's
Cross,
really douchey.
so
I would be offended.
but in the third episode, they end up finding the woman. She sees that they're both in her house and that the assassin is holding a gun. So she attacks them. And then Jeremy ends up saving the assassin's life by bashing her head in with like a lamp. And so I
His
was,
head in?
yeah, or no, her,
Oh, okay.
Claire's.
All right. So
And
Jeremy say, okay, gotcha.
right. And that's when the assassin, he was going to kill Jeremy, but Jeremy talked about wanting it so badly. And that made the assassin realize how fun it would be not to kill him. In fact, he may even use Jeremy as the protege, and they end up going to Applebee's. And the end of the episode is when we see what happened with Megan Trainor, that person that blowed up. Their
Blew up.
body, their body, even 10 hours after they blew up, was at 190 degrees.
Okay, so it just keeps getting hotter and hotter and
Yes,
hotter.
right.
until
Well,
it's like-
it showed that like the reason why people are so wanting this water is because if it's at like 190 degrees 10 hours afterwards, who knows what it was at when they're initially
well, it
going through your
fries them.
face.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a bad fever.
However, the first scene from the comic book when someone
I
blows
just want to
up.
go back there for a second because you talked about how the assassin became friends with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Right. And then the thing I don't understand is that you said that. So, like, if the assassin, since he had the perfected formula, right?
Yeah.
Does he think Jeremy also got the perfected formula? Because why would you teach someone to be your protege if in 2 years you think they're going to be dead?
I don't
anyways?
think that Jeremy has factored that in.
Well,
We s-
Jeremy might not have, but I'm saying the assassin would have.
Yeah, but the assassin didn't even talk about that. Jeremy talked about how much he liked to kill people, and that's the only time he really brings up the receptionist from the first episode. And so I think that the assassin is thinking for as long as Jeremy is going to live,
Okay, he'll just be my number 2.
he'll be my protege. So basically, in terms of
Well, that's
evilness,
the opposite of protege, but yes.
in evilness, I think it goes Byron because he's like the most evil. He's the one that's telling the assassin to kill people. That's, again, Ashton Kutcher's character, the assassin, and then probably Jeremy in terms of like tiers.
Okay. Do you think that Cooper's going to catch the assassin?
I don't know because one of my main problems with the show is that Aside from the first episode where they're figuring out the backgrounds of the people who are dying, Cooper and Jordan don't really seem to be doing much with the case. Like, they don't seem to be getting really anywhere, and I don't know how many episodes the first season is
11.
supposed to be. 11?
Yeah, New Yorker called it a hot mess, so it does sound like every episode is just doing its own thing.
Because at this point, they seem to be nowhere closer at the end of 3 episodes than where they were in the first
Well,
episode.
that's why I was gonna ask with the comic book at your disposal. Doesn't it, like, at all track with what's going on with that?
I mean, not really, because by the end of the 6th issue, I mean,
So
like...
you think we're already off the rails
Well,
from the comics?
Well, yes, I do. But by the end of the 6th issue, which is the end of the first volume, they've already found a cure for the virus. And it seems like
Oh.
everyone has kind of had a virus. So I imagine the remaining issues after this comic book are kind of like an anthology series. I don't know. That's my guess. But
Right,
like,
it would stop being body horror and just be like everybody's got a really cool Viltrumite body or something.
and to be fair, Ryan Murphy, he knows anthologies. I mean, that's all that American Horror Story was. So maybe that's where they're going with it.
You think there's going to be more beauties?
Every season is going to be just kind of like a different story.
I do see a lot of like guest stars coming in there and be like, "Oh, I get to play the non-ugly person," because it is a topical show.
Yes.
It's not topical in the fact that you do need to ingest the serum, but like it is Ozempic, Wegovy. Which are you a fan of more? Like between the big battle of like blockbuster of this day is now Ozempic versus Wegovy.
They mention Ozempic so much in the show. I think that
Do they really?
Ryan Murphy must have like a personal vendetta against it, because they keep mentioning it.
That's interesting.
It
And then you have
has-
like Joey King's Uglies.
Joey King's Uglies?
Yeah, the Uglies movie or whatever.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, there's also like the Nick Kroll episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where you got the ugly section, and it's like this
Oh,
is
in the
really going to
restaurant.
combine the worlds. Everybody can look really, really hot.
I think that it has all the sex, guts, and violence that, like, if you're a fan of Ryan Murphy, you're probably going to enjoy there. I did kind of, as disgusting as it was, enjoying the cuckoo scenes and the action scenes. Anthony Ramos, he plays a good villain, and I like some of these surprise appearances. Like I said, John Carroll Lynch, Megan Trainor, Ben Platt. I'm assuming there's going to be even more people probably showing up later on. But when it gets to the cons,
Do you think that Sacha Baron Cohen's going to show up in a pizza place to help Anthony Ramos?
why would Sacha Baron Cohen show up?
Just like Ironheart.
I didn't even make that connection. No.
Yeah, I could tell.
I don't think he's going to be showing up at all in this TV series.
Okay.
But when it gets to my cons, it has a lack of focus. This show seems to be so obsessed with sex, like to an insane level. Like even Ashton Kutcher, when he is telling the assassin people to kill, he's getting a blowjob on a yacht. Like it's just gratuitous.
Do you think he adds to the series that the fact that he is Ashton Kutcher and we just haven't seen too much of him since 2.5 Men?
Yeah. I think
Okay,
so.
so that's cool.
So I do think that his appearance does help the show, but also he hasn't really done anything yet. Jeremy, like I said, killing the receptionist, it didn't really seem like that factored in too much. And also, like the virus, they seem to be treating more as kind of a mystery in the TV show than in the comic book. So overall, I don't think you need to watch this show. I would give it like a 5 out of 10.
Wow, lower than I thought you'd give it, given everything you were saying. Its trailer alone got over 190 million views in a week. You're saying an FX record.
Why is that something with Ryan Murphy? Because I remember Dr. Odyssey also like broke a record for ABC with their trailer.
It's flashy as hell. That's why. Time, Screen Rant, The Wrap, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, all had actually nice things to say. It was getting bombarded on IMDb before the show came out. You could see the amount of 1-star reviews, whereas like there was half as many 10-star reviews. So they were like trying to fight it, but like they should just make it so that nobody can review that until like the actual show.
I would
released.
agree. I think I saw right before the show started that I have 4.9. I was like, the show isn't even out yet.
There was, literally no one could have seen it or to have actually put their review on there. So it's weird. USA did give it a negative review. There are negative reviews that are out there. So like it's a mixed match, but overall it looks like it's better received than any of the Ryan Murphy shows I've seen of late that we've talked about. So,
yeah, I mean, like you were saying, Monster Season 3 was on my #1 worst show list.
Right.
So,
Are you sure I can't push you like up to a 6 on it just because of like, I don't know.
you know what?
weirdness?
Given just everything, yeah, sure. I'll give it a passing grade. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.